Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Books and Buds. So today we're going to be discussing my favorite book by Dean Koontz. It's called From the Corner of His Eye. Now I say my favorite book, the man's written over 100 books and I've probably only read about 20, 30 of them. Of those 20, 30, this one's by far my favorite. But before I get to the book review today, I'd also like to discuss my own little publishing journey. Because as most of you are aware, I have a book coming out through Rhetoric Askew Publishing titled Corpse Lily. It was supposed to come out either like this month, December of 2019, or early in 2020. But it's being pushed back because I've signed another book deal for another book. It's a romance. It's titled Balance currently. They want to add it to a box set and try to give it a real good push for next year's holiday season. And with that in mind, hopefully it'll become some sort of a bestseller, possibly USA Today bestseller, and that would just look really good on the cover of Corpse Lily, and for any of its other box setters who have books coming out, just to have that USA bestseller title on there could really be good just to help us sell some copies. So that's the news. That book is probably going to be pushed back. I just want to let you guys know because a lot of you have been asking when it's coming out. Okay, Dean Koontz From the Corner of His Eye. Now, a lot of people say, like, Dean Koontz is listed as a horror writer. He's just, in my opinion, he's not. He's got a lot of thriller elements to him, psychological thriller. But, yeah, I can see why he's called a horror novelist, because he does write a lot of scenes that are a little bit gory. And in this book, we're dealing with a serial killer. I won't give away too much of what happens, but in the very first chapter, this guy is out on a nice little walk with his girlfriend. He's completely in love with her. She's completely in love with him. They go walking up some nice tower or something like that to go look at the beautiful view. And just to see if he's got it in him to do this kind of a thing, he pushes her off. So anyways, that's where we're introduced to one of the other main characters, the detective that's out to get this guy. He suspects immediately that this was no accident. So the book basically revolves around your serial killer and the detective out to get him. So, this is Dean Koontz we're talking about. He uses elements from all kinds of different things. Like, he does interdimensional travel in this book and everything else you could possibly imagine. It's ridiculous what he does. So, now all of a sudden, we're introduced to this mother character, and she has a child named Bartholomew. The interesting thing about this child named Bartholomew is our serial killer, Enoch, is obsessed with Bartholomew. Dean Koontz does a great job. This guy is just a nut job. He obsesses, writes Bartholomew all over the apartment walls and everything else. He's just a nut job, and Dean Koontz is unbelievable at writing really unique characters. For instance, in every single one of his books, he's got someone with some sort of a mental disability, or just some sort of mental thing going on that makes the book just a little more interesting. A lot of times he uses an autistic character, like in his Frankenstein series. You have these people, they're autistic. One of them is Randall, and he's one of Frankenstein's creations that he makes, and then that guy ends up wanting to go meet another autistic character in the book. So it's pretty neat how he does these characters to keep you into the story. In this particular book, From the Corner of His Eye, Bartholomew's two uncles, his mother's brothers, they live in like the upstairs part of the garage, and they're both afraid to leave the house. They're pretty much agoraphobic, but their real fear for leaving the house is they're just both pretty much addicted to disasters. They don't want to go out in public, and they don't want to risk disaster. They have files upon files of all these horrific natural disasters that have killed thousands of people, or train crashes, or bridge collapses. So it's interesting how he puts people like that in every single one of his books. But without giving too much away, I'm just going to read the back of it real quick. This is the story of a boy who loses his sight, which is true. The little boy loses his sight, but fortunately he's able to use dimensions to help him out, and then mysteriously regains it. It is the story of courageous band of seekers and a relentless killer. It is the story of all that is right in the world and all that is terribly wrong. It is a story of a revelation so terrifying and so sublime it can only be glimpsed. It's crazy. He's not a horror writer because what he does, he has this ability to make things so beautiful. In this book, like the characters, the ending, just the hope, and the good against evil, and the whole time you're looking at the good characters in this book, the mother and her son, her family, the detective, and just the way they treat the people around them. They're just good people, and you can see how they're just surrounded by love, and how this evil character is alone throughout the whole book. Just nobody wants to associate with douchebags like that, and it's kind of nice because you see it in your own life. If you're anything like me, you know these people that aren't very good guys, or good women. Sorry, gentlemen, I shouldn't just exclude you. But just people that aren't very good. Very selfish, very narcissistic. They take advantage of everyone around them, and then they wonder why no one wants to hang out with them. It's just the way it is. Good people seem to find each other, and bad people push all those people away, and let's face facts, bad people screw each other over just as much as they screw good people over. So they're going to end up alone in life. That's pretty much what happens in this book, is this complete lunatic finds himself alone. So give this book a shot. I don't want to get into too much detail because it's Dean Koontz. The guy doesn't need any help selling, but he's just one of the best. I like him more than Stephen King, to be completely honest with you. Which I should mention before I leave today. I should mention why I like him a little more than Stephen King, because a lot of the times with Stephen King, there's a lot of things that happen in his books that's just too coincidental. It's like he came across a stumbling block and said, oh, well, it happened because of this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it works. And he weaves a great tale. I love Stephen King, don't get me wrong. But with Dean Koontz, he's a lot better at explaining things beforehand or afterwards that make you go, oh, that's why that happened. So there's no coincidences just to help plot the story along. He thinks his books out really well, which is equally impressive considering he's written over 100 of them. So he's another one of my just guilty pleasure writers who I just pick up now and again, and I'll at least read one or two of his books every year. I absolutely love him. So I'll be leaving a link to his book in the description below, where you can find it on Amazon. I'll also be leaving a link to Rhetoric Askew Publishing, where you can find out more information on where my books are going to be coming out. And there's a lot of other fantastic authors on there too. Also, if you are a medical marijuana card holder in the beautiful state of Maine, I'll be leaving a link to Burning Bush's webpage in the description below. Please look us up. Meet your new caregivers. I love the hell out of you guys for checking in. You could have clicked on a million review channels. You clicked on mine. I love the hell out of you for it. You guys have a good day.